Hi everyone, good afternoon. Yeah, it's Gloria again from the ETF community, and I'm really excited to be with you today. Just like we promised on Wednesday, that we're going to be having another exciting conversation on different startup stages that we do on the ETF community. Today, also, we're going to be having another regarding building an MVP, and that would be happening with three amazing people. Uh, I'm just the host, I'm not an expert, but what we do at the ETF community, we bring experts that can actually give you valuable insights on these topics to help you understand better. Right now, without further ado, I'm just going to bring my speakers to the stage and they would introduce themselves, talk about a few things. I'll ask questions on the surveys that we've gotten in the community, and yeah, we'll just take on from there. So, welcome, sit tight. The comment section should be buzzing. You can send in your questions if you have any. You don't need to wait until the end of the call, and just know that we are ready and available to answer. First, we have Chidozie. Hi, Chidozie. And then we have Chidera, and we have Fifi. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the ETF SSX section. So, starting from Chidozie, can you please delight us by introducing yourself, like what you do, who you are, so
Yeah.
we all get.
Hi everyone, afternoon. My name is Chidozie Manago. I am a senior software full stack developer at eCommunities. I'm based in UK. I am also an AI researcher, part-time extern at the University of Texas. Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
yeah,
Amazing. It's a pleasure to meet you.
yeah. Pleasure to meet everyone here. Yeah.
Yeah,
And also my fellow speakers as well. Good to see some bright minds as well.
same. It's really an honor. So Chidera, you want to do us the honor?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Chidaran Chibi, and I'm a software engineer. So I've been a software engineer for over about 4+ years now. So pretty much I specialize on the back end. Yeah, so I'm a back end engineer, and I've worked on a lot of projects, a lot of startups and companies alike. So I'm also a recent graduate of electrical electronics engineering from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. So I'm pretty much just looking to actually like explore other fields. So I'm currently in the blockchain space and building on Solana and all of that stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing. Uh yeah, you're welcome. I think everybody by this time knows who Gloria is, but just for the sake that people watching for the first time, I'm Gloria, and I am just your host. I help you bring these amazing people together. So I don't know much about the tech world, so I'm going to be asking pretty very. You might find it lame, but bear with me and the rest of us that you know listening currently, so that we can have a better understanding of things. So today our topic is building a minimum viable product, which is an MVP. So, first I would start with Chigozie. What is an MVP? What's the concept of an MVP in your own terms, in like the most simple definition? For somebody like me that does not know anything, if I hear an MVP for the first time, what should I think it is? What should I believe it is?
Okay. Well, an MVP, where in simple layman terms, is when if you're developing, building a product, is the simplest version of that product that will still communicate the features you're trying to pass to the users. So,
Oh,
so it could be maybe if your major feature is maybe you're trying to process payments faster, and you just present that feature as simple as possible. As far as the user gets the end goal, that is your MVP. You can then build upon it, then add features, add whatever you want upon that MVP, the minimum viable product you have. So yeah, to a simple amount, that's what I'll say. Any product or the skeleton that you can have that will give you the same, at least pass the same feature or usage you want users to, embrace. That's your MVP. It mustn't be something complex. It can be very simple product, even if it's a simple calculator. Once it passes those messages as an MVP, you can build upon it and extend it.
Oh, okay. So an MVP just like the basics of you trying to come up with an idea, the first thing that anybody's supposed to see,
Yeah,
but it has to contain like the end goal.
yeah. It's sometimes depending. It could be the end goal, or it could be a variation of the end goal. Say for example, say you're trying to, let's take the one that most Nigerians are familiar with, say fintech, right? Which is going to probably, at least have to do with processing payments, or making payments easier from point A to point B, right? But in just that particular problem that you're trying to solve, you could find out that there could be other smaller problems that maybe if your company pivots to a different, and we may have a different MVP entirely. Some companies go as far as, even though they process payments, payment processing platform, they could double into, maybe, for example, now with AI coming up, they could double into maybe utilizing AI in some form of way to help users embrace this payment platform that they're trying to bring up. As far as you have a minimum products, you can always build upon it. That's the idea.
Oh, okay. So with that, I think I'm just going to ask you this question. Can you help us for somebody like me that have been in the so I've been in the more of the administration business sector of my career for a very long time, and I don't have a lot of concept about this, but I think in the last 1 month I've been in the community talking to a lot of people. I've been able to gather some understanding, but for some people that might not know, can you just help us differentiate between an MVP and a prototype? Because for me, as a business person, a prototype is like the first thing I think about when I want to, come up with an idea.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. So for me, like Chidozi already said, yeah. So you already like did justice to what an MVP is. So it's a minimum viable product, and it's for me it usually like applies more to products that are like softwares. So products that you can actually like build once and scale to like millions. So things like your your social media applications, your financial tech applications, yeah. So those applications are built and designed with, of course, they're built and designed with scalability in mind and all of that. But pretty much the idea is that you build a piece of software, and that's what can be used by like millions of people. So when you're actually
Mm.
like doing things like that, most especially in the startup world, where you're usually dealing with software. So I mean, the core of the startup world is pretty much building software. So when you actually like look at it that way, so that's what an MVP is. So the minimum viable product, that's pretty much the for me, and it means like the smallest feature list that your product can have. That if there's at least one person in the world who will use your product and actually like find value in it, then you already have an MVP and you can go live, you can launch, and then of course when you launch, you need to like iterate upon your product, actually like add more features, fix bugs and all of that stuff. So now on prototype, on the other hand, I believe it's more in line with things like deal with hardware. So if you're pretty much a hardware company, something like robotics, if you're in the robotics field, where you actually deal with hardware and stuff like that. So you pretty much need to design a prototype. So a prototype now is like the minimum viable product. But in this time, you're actually like talking about like a physical something you can actually like touch, like a physical quantity. So you pretty much design your prototype. So let's say you are in robotics and you have this idea for a robot that is able to assist, let's say, elderly ones with tasks in their homes and stuff like that. You can actually
Mm.
design like the smallest version of this robot, yeah, and take it to market. Take it to your first few testers. Actually, like, ask them for feedback on it. Maybe they will deploy it in their homes. Basically like see how the robot actually like fares in actually like helping an actual elderly person at home. And then you actually like quantify these metrics, the data you get from there, and then of course that's your feedback. So you pretty much now have to go back and actually like modify your prototype. So prototypes are not usually used. I mean, to the best of my knowledge and understanding, it's not really something common in the software space. It's more of like the hardware side where you actually like have to deal with the physical structure. So yeah.
Okay. I have an understanding now. So a prototype is like the initial design. For me, it's more like a sketch of an idea that I have. So let me use how do I put it? Okay, in terms of marketing, because I think that's mainly where my field. The first thing I do in terms of marketing would be to draft out a plan, a strategy plan on how to, help someone with their branding or marketing. So that is the prototype. Me putting this plan into like the basic form of working, maybe setting up a social media account first, and then thinking of later I'm going to run an idea on it, an ad on it, is the MVP, if I understand properly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you have a sketch, yeah, so definitely you can see that as your, your prototype. In software engineering, actually, or in software space, it's more of, you call like a sort of wireframe. So where you have like this rough idea and you're actually like trying to like stretch, because I mean when you have an idea, it's pretty much something you can't touch. It's not something you can quantify. It's pretty much just a figment of your imagination. So you need to actually like put it down in writing. Albert, I mean, who's the guy that was under the mango tree when the apple, Isaac Newton or something like that. Yeah. So he actually like sketch his ideas. Yeah. So they actually like write down these things. So if you don't, actually you run the risk of it's like maybe fading away from memory and stuff like that. So when you have when you have your idea for your marketing, you have something you want to do and all of that, and you actually like do sketch it down. Yes, definitely, that's a rough sketch, like a rough idea that you brought down into something you can see. So when you are seeing this thing that you sketched out, it makes it more real. So from there, you can actually like proceed to start setting up the plans for setting up your Facebook dashboard. If you're going to do Facebook ads, your Snapchat dashboard, your TikTok, or wherever. To actually like now start creating the ad copy, yeah, creating the social media designs that are going to be needed for your creative. You basically do all of those ad stuff, ad placements, and the rest of them, and then actually now begin the campaign. And then as you begin the campaign, definitely your idea for marketing has gone live. So you now need to like track data, Facebook will give you metrics and stuff like that. You track data, analyze the data, and then see what to tweak. You do like A/B testing and the rest of them to actually like see what to tweak to actually like make sure that you are getting value for your money. So I mean, it's pretty much the same idea, just that there are different things they call them in different spaces and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, I think that's really explanatory, really. Chidozie, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think Chichira already, like he was
Okay.
giving a very, very detailed explanation. So yeah, yes.
Okay. So my next question would be, why is building an MVP considered a crucial part for building a successful startup? I think in the last, like I mentioned, that in the last month, I was speaking to a lot of software engineers and founders, and I've come to understand that building an MVP is very important especially when you're starting up as an engineer that's trying to evolve into a founder. And maybe you have the idea and you want to, bring this idea to the world, bring this idea to the market. Maybe I would say you are trying to become an entrepreneur as an engineer. So, why do you think building an MVP is crucial to running a startup or starting a startup?
Uh, well, being an MVP obviously it goes beyond just proof of concept because now the idea has reached development stage. So obviously there's going to be a couple of more tweaks and iteration before you have a final product. But as at that point, building an MVP and actually building an MVP and getting it right is important because it can lead, it can actually like affect a lot of development changes you have down the line, even the way your users interact with your application. So which is why I think if you ask me, I'll generally say even though it's very very easy to slip in between spending too much time and gathering requirements. I would say one of the biggest, if not the most important phase of any MVP development is user requirement gathering. So you need to have a feel of your users. You need to know you need to know how they live their life and how what you're trying to build is going to solve a problem. Because most times people don't generally use a product because it's a product. They use a product because it solves a problem. So it speaks to them in a certain way. So by doing that, you're grounding your MVP or the idea on actual real life users and real life problems. So and obviously you can imagine if you get that phase right, even if you're going to build more features, it's going to just be maybe to solve more problems, but the root cause has been solved or it's been tackled. So as an engineer, I think in my own case, for community, which is one of the startups I was part of, I was what they call a founding engineer. So what that means is the fancy term of, oh, hey, we have this idea. We don't know somewhere that can the whole flow. So it's okay. They're approach and they're like, this is what we probably need, and we don't have the skills to build this. But if you come in and help us build this, obviously, aside from whatever people pay you, you would have a certain percentage of the company. Hence, you're finding an engineer. So even though I'm not like, C-suite level, but I still, because of my impact, I was basically the one that built the entire application from the ground up. Maybe later on, they'll probably bring some other developers, but the initial phase, version 1, was me. I was the entire founding engineer that did everything. So that could have, so again, having the experience of actually building something like that from ideation up until, actually having actual users using this application, making transactions and all these things, that experience of building cannot be replaced because now you have first-hand experience of actually bringing an idea to life. And along the line, you will still end up having to interact with some level of management of the line. So it's a mix of both. So it's crucial to have that building experience so that when you go out to the real world, even if things may pivot, you have an idea of what's going on. It's not going to be strange or you just like in the shadows. So I think it's crucial for especially software developers or software founders to actually have some experience, no matter how small, to give you an edge, and you can perceive the developer side and also the actual user side.
That's really great. The experience of building something from ground up and watching it come to life really cannot be overemphasized. I understand that. So Chidera, I'm guessing you have built an MVP maybe for a company or for yourself, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So the next question it would be to you then. What do you think when building an MVP? So for software engineers, I know that they easily get so sucked into their work. And most people will be asking, are they really that busy? And from first-hand experience, I can say they are. Because and in the world that we are in right now, it is common knowledge that engineers are busy, really. So when you're creating these MVPs and in all of your I need to get things done, I need to get box fixed, and then you have all of these things that you need to do, you need to make an MVP. What are the common pitfalls that you think engineers fall into when creating an MVP?
Yeah. So basically, when creating an MVP, one common thing that because I mean definitely when you're working in a startup, first off, it's a like high-paced environment, so you can't really compare working in a startup to working in a more established company like Google,
Mm,
Uber, Facebook, YouTube, and the rest of them. Yeah. So a startup is a very high-paced field here, and definitely there's that pressure because I mean probably the startup has maybe gotten some pre-seed funding, and there's that pressure from like investors and all of that for you to go live with your product. Yeah. So people
mm,
they might have raised from family and friends. So basically there's like external pressure aside from the founders. There's this external pressure from maybe the people they've raised money from or from them themselves because they've had these high expectations and all of that. So they actually need to go to market very, very quickly. So basically, it can be a lot. It can be a lot to actually like handle if you don't manage your time properly. So if you don't actually like because I mean definitely it's likely that aside working in startup and trying to build this MVP and stuff like that, you probably have other engagements. So you probably have school, you probably have some other work or something that you're actually like doing. So if you don't actually like manage your time properly, it can actually like be a very big problem. Yeah, so it can be a problem to actually like be able to work in that high paced environment. Because I mentioned earlier that this is like a high paced environment, so there's a lot of you know pressure from all sides, and also it's a small team, a startup. It's not like a more established company where you have like 20 plus developers on one project. It's not even the entire company, like one particular project. Yeah, And
Yeah.
I mean, definitely there's this, the tasks are like broken down, so you can actually like get like minuscule amount of the task and stuff like that. But then in a startup, you are pretty much the only person. You are the founding backend engineer, the founding full stack engineer. It's pretty much yeah, full stack engineer is even worse because I mean the front end, the back end, the DevOps. Because even the back end say they do DevOps normally, so you now have to do DevOps, do security, and all of that stuff on one person's head. So that can actually like, be a whole lot. So basically, if you don't manage your time properly, that can be a very big pitfall. Then also, not designing well. Like when I say design, I mean I'm not really talking about like UI UX design and product design and just all them. Yeah. So I'm more talking about system design. Yeah. So basically, especially as a backend engineer, like I said, I'm a backend engineer. So definitely, we need to design infrastructure. So you pretty much need to design maybe the services, external services that you need to use. Maybe where your servers are going to be deployed, if it's going to be AWS or some platform like maybe some custom PASS, like basically a custom server or something like that. So you need to do all of this design, yeah. So infrastructure design pretty much. You also need to do design for your backend schema and stuff like that, entity relationship diagrams, UML diagrams, and all of that. So most of these things are actually like skilled over, like a lot of people actually skill over them initially, and can be a problem because it's a startup, so things change quickly. So there's no way for you to document what's changing. Then it's going to be a problem for you to keep track of what's happening. For example, now tomorrow one stakeholder from somewhere can come and say, oh, they've added so and so one feature like that they think it's a normal feature that you can just just switch or something. They don't know it's actually like a lot of things have actually depended on the way it's currently set up. So basically, you need to design properly. But then also, designing properly does not mean you over engineer. So over engineering is pretty much you're trying to like go into like every single little detail and all of that. Because definitely that's actually I mean it makes the system more robust, but then it takes more time to build it because of the whole you stretch out everything. You've like broken countries into states, into LGEs and all of that. So but at the end of the day, I mean you're definitely going to have a more scalable system, but then it takes more time. So basically you need to find that perfect balance between the right engineering that you need to do and then the consideration for the time that you have, limited time that you have to actually like build out this MVP. So yeah, if the people here are actually like able to think about those things and actually like handle them appropriately, then definitely, I mean, for the most part, you should be able to cope with the whole stuff and actually like get an MVP out in no time. Yeah.
So does it, you have been nodding your head. It looks like you
No,
have experienced a lot of it.
I agree with. I agree with a lot of the things he's saying. You're very right. I mean, another key thing he mentioned here, and I wanted to mention is over engineering. In the course of my whole development, because I've been developing for almost 14 years, but professionally about 9 years. And as you can imagine, I've been in a couple of teams, one of which I think was one time in Andela, a long time ago. But we were doing something and we were trying to innovate, sometimes we barcode scanning. And I remember vividly that was my first, one of the few times I had a real scene with a team. But we spent
Wow.
so much time talking about, deliberating about the back end tech, the front end tech. So, like Chidera said, a whole lot of time, especially like for first time, founding devs or whatever, a whole lot of time that they spend goes into over engineering. Most times, people don't really care what you use in the front or the back end. How far it works, let it work. Yeah. So, for the Chidera said, for an MVP, your priority should be speed. You get this
Mm.
feature, develop it, push it out there, let us get feedback, and then iterate the process to make it better. Then you can have much more, deliberation about okay, what front end start do you use? But at least now you have a feel of what the user has told you. Okay, this works, this doesn't work. Then you re-engineer and innovate whatever you want. But that first time you have to your crucial this in is speed. What's the idea? Let's get an MVP, a raw set of it, push it out there. As far as people can click buttons and the form works, something submitting, we can see responses. You can always improve. That's the whole idea of software development, CI/CD, and all that stuff. So yeah, Chidera, right. I mean, that's a very big point. People always seem to miss in the MVP stage over engineering. It's a crucial factor.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, over engineering is a problem, so I've taken that as a point from this. Um, so my next question, any one of you, if have the answer, you can go. But my next question is: so, given limited resources, right? People do you place importance on design or user experience, given limited resources? Do you, when you're creating your MVP, do you place an importance on the design or do you place an importance on the user experience?
Oh, that's it. Personally, user experience trumps everything. If you have a beautiful application and users can use application, it's not really much. So people have to use application, and then for example, I can remember how Facebook when Facebook came out initially in the early 2000s, it was really shitty UI. It didn't look good at all. It didn't look very good at all. But over the years, Facebook has become what it is today. If they had focused on let's get all the beautiful buttons or all looking all gorgeous, I doubt it would have expanded to this point. So they got the functionality. They knew what the users wanted to do. The users want to communicate effectively via social platforms. They're having to seamlessly from one point to another. And once you get that part right, you've solved the problem. So even if users move from WhatsApp to Facebook to this thing, it's all a seamless process because the core issue has been tackled. So user experience trumps everything.
So user experience, yeah. Actually, if I'm given an option or using an app and it's not working, even no matter how fine it is, I don't think I would recommend it.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Definitely user experience from everything. So my next question is this: for people that have money and they have no technical experience whatsoever, they are not a software engineer, they don't have any understanding of how the technical part of building anything is, but they have the money, and so they are bringing you as a technical founder while they are a co-founder. What do you think, aside resources, which is funds, how do you think a non-technical founder can help in building in the process of building the MVP or building an MVP? Actually, you dropped off a while ago, so you can go ahead and answer.
All right. So basically, yeah, if if the founders, yeah, are not like technical, so they can't actually like build out the product. So they can't actually like build out the minimum version of the product, and they need to like hire an engineer and bring them on as like a founding engineer or something like that. So one of the major things they can do on the end. So if they're not doing engineering, and of course they're not doing most likely not doing design, or maybe they are, that's also a thing. But if they're not doing any of those things, I mean, one of the major things that they should be working on actively should be things like marketing. Yeah. So pretty much, I mean, one of the major goals as a founder is you're pretty much the CMO. So even if you have a quote unquote marketer or a quote unquote head of marketing or a quote unquote CMO, you are still the CMO of your product. Yeah. So you're both CEO, CMO, CFO, see everything, understand, for the most part. Because if your product pretty much does not do well, then it's pretty much like a waste of resources and a waste of time. So now on the side of the engineer that's actually like building a product, there's a lot of like I mean there's a lot of sacrifice that was probably made to actually like build out that product. Yeah, a lot of back and forth, a lot of engineering resources, mental resources, and basically most likely, more often than not, actually the pay that you'd pay and stuff might not actually even be worth it. So at the end of the day, as an engineer working on this product, my my consolation is that at some point in time, this product is going to go live. Yeah, this product is going to go live. This product is going to get the first 1,000 users, the first 10,000, a million users. Yeah, and it's actually like a fulfillment to actually like see your work in production. When no matter the smallest piece of software that you built, like I said earlier, so I'm a kind of recent graduate, so from FICO, we worked in a couple products there. So, the TEDx photo event, we built a software for that. And it was really like, there's this pride that you see when you actually like see people checking in with your software and paying, making payment and all of that, and everything just works, yeah. So basically, as a founder, you actually need to be tasked with responsibilities like that, operations, marketing, basically doing the work behind the scenes to actually make sure that when this product is actually live, you know, we've done our part as engineers, actually like build out something that is scalable, something that's reliable, yeah. And then, of course, definitely there'll be that part where you'd actually, you know, pretty much work on the marketing pretty much and make sure that as this product goes live, there are like users that can actually like use it. Revenue is coming in and all of that. So yeah, because it's actually going to be very, very painful when you actually build a product and then at the end of the day you guys don't launch. And we've seen a lot of that. I've personal experience, building products and at the end of the day it does not go live. I mean, we've built out the entire thing. There's nothing that is not working and you don't go live. So that's actually going to be bad on the morale of the developers. So yeah.
Yeah, actually makes sense. Chidozie, do you have anything you want to add to that?
You mentioned a very good point, Marcus. Yeah, so I think I agree with him. I mean, it's typically if I'm invited to be a startup be a member of a startup in any product or any project. I mean, if we all see ourselves that project being somewhere, I always ask one question: who is marketing this thing? Because it's one thing to build. I mean, when you finish building, then what happens? I mean, that's the next question. What happens? Because we didn't build to just keep it here. We built it to make people use it. So, as I said, it's a very crucial thing. That's the question I always ask. Even in my own personal projects, right? Even when I'm building it, I'm always thinking of who can I partner with. Even the social media, influencer, whatever it is, we can partner. Maybe help us. Marketing is a very crucial question because to build and then get users. And maybe the second question I would say is the non-technical funders should try to get the user requirements as detailed as possible. This could also help to minimize the constant change. I've worked in a situation where for every week we had a new change that we had to do and it affected our previous week work. So you can imagine the backlog. I'm sure she as well as a person like that. So there's some clients like that, you can never win with them. There's always something to change, always something to fix. But I'm not saying it's not possible. I mean, it's still part of the software development process. But if you can try to bring it down to a minimum, knowing that again, you might be changing it to you from the outside, since you're a non-technical person, you may look at, oh, it's just a button. But it could be that the button triggers a whole lot of functions in the back end. And just one API chain may, cause a whole model to, again, it's whole technical talk, but yeah, try to get user requirements down to a T as much as possible. And naturally, as I said, marketing, very important. So you don't just end up building and everybody is tired and watching their products as wasted.
I was about to actually give a scenario like that because working with a non-technical founder, actually just working with anybody that is not exactly in your field, they can be very opinionated. They have ideas, but they don't know how to do it. And because they feel like, oh, you should know how to do it now. It's just a button here, button there, and you get it done. So yes. Now we know that they should get their details for whatever it is they need to do letter before coming up with their stream of flows of ideas. They don't disrupt anybody. That's very good point. Before my last question, are there anything else that you would want the community to know on this topic of building an MVP and the process that it might entail? Chidera, you can go first.
So basically these are every can put us in my entail. So like we established earlier, so what's an MVP is a minimum viable product, the minimum feature that needs to be in your product that if you show it to someone, they love it and tell their friend. So basically once you're actually able to achieve that for your product, then definitely you've achieved an MVP and you can go live and pretty much iterate. So basically it's all iteration. So you're never going to be able to launch the perfect product. So that's also something to consider because definitely there's always this some people have this need for perfection. So they want the product to be perfect, perfect before they actually go live. Yeah, and that can actually basically go wrong in a lot of ways. You can never ever have a perfect product. Google as it is today is not perfect. Facebook is not perfect. Most of these big giants, you saw, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and the rest of them when it came out, people were like, oh, it's actually the best thing that happened in the world, and blah 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 blah. And one thing just came out the other day from China, and pretty much everybody is like, oh shit, it doesn't actually cost a whole lot to actually build these powerful models and all of that and do all these fancy things, yeah. So pretty much aim for perfection. There's always something that's going to be better than what you built. That's the fact. You can never get that perfection. So imagine OpenAI. Okay, they knew that. Okay, the first model was not, that it was not going to limits of what we can do with today's computing power. And let's say they stalled off on it, yeah, and they never launched. They are stalling off and trying to do GPT 01, GPT 02 internally and stuff like that. I mean, they pretty much never launched. And if DeepSeek was actually like released during that timeline, then pretty much you not have likely heard about ChatGPT and the rest of them today. So pretty much, basically like know that as a business an MVP, you can never be perfect. Just build something that works, something that actually like drives home the point that are actually like looking to make for your product, and you can get it out there. So yeah, then definitely, I mean, when you're building an MVP, you actually need to consider a lot of things. One of the things you need to consider definitely is, of course, if you're going to be using like a mobile app, a web app, like I said, MVPs usually associated with software. So softwares can be, you know, pretty much the software. If software, it's possible that you have a software that you don't even see. Yeah. So I mean, for the technical people here, they would understand things like APIs and stuff like that. A piece of code that actually like runs on the server, and what pretty much happens when you're on Google, Facebook, and the rest of them. There's always this interaction with these APIs. The web app you're looking at, the mobile app you're looking at, actually just serves as an interface. So just like a skin, you have your skeleton in your body, and nobody's actually seeing your skeleton except your teeth. Your teeth is part of your skeleton. But aside that, nobody's actually like seeing it. But then it's actually like the structure that holds up your entire body. Yeah. So these things actually happen in the background. So pretty much you need to actually like define, okay, what is this I want to build? Do I want to build like a mobile app? Do I want to do a web app? Do I want to do a desktop app? And all the rest of them. So when you actually like define that, you need to start basically like trying to design how it's going to be like. So for that, you need something like a product designer, a UI UX designer that would actually do some sort of user research. So by that time, I mean, as a founder, you should have pretty much pinpointed what exactly it is you want to build, and you pretty much pinpointed who your target customer is. So basically, a designer is going to basically do a bunch of user research with potential people, potential customers that actually like fit the profile of what the product you're building is going to solve. So when you actually like have all of this set up, you pretty much have the wireframe, like I said earlier, low fidelity wireframe, high fidelity wireframe, blah blah. But I mean, startups actually move fast, so sometimes they don't actually go, in depth, start doing all of these lower level stuff here. But pretty much, you're going to have a design setup. You're going to have engineering setup. So pretty much the back end engineering, the front end engineering. So when I say front end now, I mean both web app, mobile apps, and if it's going to be a desktop app. Yeah, so all of these after come together, and then of course marketing. So you need to actually start looking for potential partners for what you're building product. In terms of marketing, potential people to partner with that could actually like scale this product to the few thousand users, and the network effect just kind of spreads from there. So so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Pretty much it from my end. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, Sarah. I think next would be Tuesday. Is there anything else you would like the
So,
viewers? Go ahead.
what was the question, sorry?
The question is, anything else that probably might not be covered in
Okay.
my questions? Yeah, that you want to add?
Mm, when building an MVP,
Mm.
I think it's safe to say when building an MVP, you most likely will fail a couple of times, but
No.
if you stop you. If you really believe in the product you're building, I mean, you should go ahead with it. And if you believe in the product you're building, you should go ahead with it. And the failure or the distance should not deter you. As a matter of fact, you should also be open to pivoting the idea if need be. Instagram pivoted, Snapchat pivoted. Instagram was supposed to be a social media application, but they pivoted and became a picture sharing application today. So sometimes a dead end may just mean you just pivot and look at the MVP from a different angle and get a fresh perspective on things. And when being an MVP, I would say you should not build an MVP alone always try to work with a team. The most productive people in the world have teams. Nobody builds anything majorly alone. You have to have a team. Even if you're the builder, like Chidera said, have someone that markets. The both of you can do more than you doing everything. So, like I said, you most likely will fail. It should stop you. You should not be afraid to pivot or explore other options or alternatives to the idea. It could just be a different angle entirely, and that's where it may come from. And then lastly, always build collaborative in groups. Even if you handle one part of it, you can handle other aspects. You could just find someone to co-found with you, and who knows, yeah. And again, try to get user requirements. I think that's it. The users don't build around what you imagine. Build around the user requirements. They are the people that use the application. If you don't build around the requirements, you build an application that's all ends up in your head and nobody uses it. So you build for the users, you don't build for yourself. Except you're using the application anyway. So yes, that's my percent.
Very important. You're building for the users, they're not building for yourself. So yeah, I got that now. Now for my last question before we call it a day. Actually, not my last question. My second to last question, because my last question will be something else. My last question is: we have established that building an MVP is like basic grassroots of things you do when you're creating a product, right? How do you now measure the success of this MVP? So it's out, you are done with the building it. Marketing has occurred, there are people that are using this. How do you measure the success of this MVP? How do you measure that, okay, this is a successful project that I have embarked on, or this is surmountable to a failure? Since it's something that we can, expect, how do we measure that? The question is to both of you. Anybody can take it. Anybody can go first. Yeah.
KPIs. How to measure success? Well, again, it depends on the application, right? I'm going to use community since that seems to be my most successful so far with people I've done it with. So with community, we have about database it is an asset management system. So for community, we have about almost 10,000 plus users, 10,000 plus registered users. But now the thing is, again, it depends. Like I said, it depends on the company. In our own case, we are not looking at the registered users. We are looking at returning users. Meaning, we can have 10,000 users and only like 100 people returning and using the application. It depends on what the company considers success. In our own case, we want to achieve at least a minimum of 30% returning users. So if we have 10,000 registered users, we would like to have at least 3K people coming back to this application every day. That to us is success. So it's okay, at least if we manage to get 10,000 people registered on this platform, and we manage to convince or get 3,000 to come back every day or periodically to use our platform, I mean, it's good enough that you had 3,000 people. So I think, like I said, it depends on what the application is. For a typical fintech, it'll probably be number of transactions, or maybe something else, or how many transactions failed, how many succeeded. It depends on what the company wants, but typically, I think a good indication would be number of downloads, or obviously number of registered users. That would be at least good indication that you're doing something right. Yeah, then you can build upon that and fine tune to what you require as good response or good good feedback.
Okay. Chidera, so you can take the question next. How would you measure success for building an MVP?
Yeah. So like you just said pretty much. So yeah, so success pretty much like in real life without the whole startup and MVP stuff. In real life, success means pretty much means different things to different people at different points in time. So, for someone it could be having like the most money they could possibly have. For someone it could be finishing that degree. For someone it could be relocating or something like that. So just like how it means a lot of different things to different people in real life, that's pretty much the same way it means a lot of different things to different products in startup space. So depending on what you are doing, depending on what you're actually like building, what your product is about. Yeah. So I mean, it's easy to confuse, the number of users that your product actually has as like a success metric, like maybe like a KPI or something like that. So because I mean, if you have, let's say you're building like an infrastructure, yeah. Let's say something like, let's say I don't know, PDAX. Let's say you're building like a crypto server infrastructure, and then of course those things actually like have to actually like pass a lot of blockchain data in real time, like a whole lot of data from like different blockchains like Solana, Ethereum, and the rest of them, and you have like all these other third parties that are actually like built upon you. So you have like people that are integrated to your services. Yeah. So basically, if you have a lot of users, and then at the end of the day, you are not really making money. Yes, definitely you have a lot of users. Let's say you have like 10 million users, but at the end of the day, those 10 million users are actually like idle. Yeah. You actually see that you're not actually building a successful product. And sooner or later, you're actually going to have to run to the ground because you are spending a whole lot of money on infrastructure, whole lot of money on keeping the servers running and all of that. But then you have a lot of users, but you don't have like a lot of paying users. So you don't have people that are actually, transacting high volume, like a high enough volume for you to, make money from maybe fees and all of that or spread to actually like cover the costs of, basically paying the engineers, maintaining the infrastructure and all of that. So definitely, if you build a product, definitely it's easy to look at the number of downloads, the number of users you have registered. But then, if like for example, I worked as the founding engineer at Nurica. So Nurica is a company based in the UK, and it's pretty much like a move to earn crypto powered, AI powered software. And we had like over 150,000 users in the first 3 months. Yeah, so that's actually like a good metric, and it's something like I'm proud of, and I always like mention it. But then, I mean, definitely for Nurica, looking at something like that, it makes sense for us. Yeah, based on how the application actually does work. But for some other products that you actually need a whole lot of users that are paying money to maintain the infrastructure you've built, then that might not be a success. So you actually now need to actually try to start looking at strategies you need to put in place to actually like get these users that you've already gotten to register. So definitely, if they register on your platform, that means that they kind of love what you're doing, or they kind of feel that what you built is something that can actually like add value to them. So that it's easier for you to now like try to get them to come back, or try to get them to actually like pay for some of the services that you have in stock for them. Yeah. So pretty much for the most part, if you actually like have a business or a product that actually does make money, and you actually like have a good number of people that are returning to your products, or that are actually like paying for your services, then definitely you are like a successful product. So for the most part, you can generate revenue. It's success for most products. Yeah. So basically, that's the main summary of what I'm saying. So pretty much, if you have a product that can generate revenue, you are pretty much successful. So it does not matter the number of users you exactly have. If you have 1,000 users and you are able to convert those 1,000 people to pay you, let's say $10 per month, that's how much? That's $10,000, I mean. And yeah, that's like that's good money. So basically, now if you compare to also like another company that has like 1 million users, but then they are struggling to get 100 people to pay $10 per month, you can see that you're actually like more successful than them. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. So those kind of metrics, is it to those are like for the most part like vanity metrics. So it actually does look good on the books, as telling an investor something that you have 100,000 users, 1 million users. Yeah. But then the most important thing is actually like how much of those users are you actually converting? How much money are you actually making? So yeah.
Yeah. Uh, this has been really informative and insightful for me, even though I'm not an engineer, but I think most of the lessons I've learned here is something that you can apply anywhere. And for our engineers that are watching in the background, they have gotten like a ton of insights, which I am exceptionally grateful for. So yeah, here comes my last question. Do you think you would want to have this kind of conversation again? How did you enjoy today? Was it good? Was it worth your time? Is it something you think if Gloria enters your DM and say hi, do you want to oblige me your presence again? Is this something you want to do? Mind you, you're on live, so whatever you say here can be used against you in the court of law. So yeah, so how did you enjoy today? Was it good? Is it something you think you would do again? Tuesday. Yes, from you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a nice conversation. I actually enjoyed myself. I would, well, I want to have it, but it's been a while since at least I've had something like this, and basically people have been storming and sharing ideas. So I mean, sure. I mean, when invited again, I'll definitely, come and share my experience by then.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Chidera, is it something you want to do again?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it's been a good one. So basically, like actually like sharing experience through. But I mean, there are like other engineers that are here that for an engineer actually, I mean, this community is actually a very good one. So I mean, like me personally, I've encountered like a lot of engineers that just code. So that's pretty much the thing that they do, and I mean it's good. That's what you like. That's you're an engineer pretty much. So you just build and all of that. But then at some point in time, you might actually want to because as an engineer, you're pretty much working for other people, helping build products and stuff like that. You're working as a backend engineer, DevOps engineer, and just of them. But then in the future, it's possible that you might want to actually like build a product for yourself. Maybe you have a problem that you want to solve and you want to kind of monetize it and stuff like that. So this platform actually like offers them the a very very good opportunity to actually learn some of the things that are actually like necessary to build a successful product. Yeah, because some of them actually like go through school, but they don't do things like maybe join communities like Enactus. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with Enactus. Yeah, so Enactus is like an entrepreneurial community. It's actually very big and it's global. It's around the world in Germany and the rest of them. So they actually join these communities, and then when they actually now want to build a product, they actually realize quickly that having technical skills does not really cut it. There are a lot of other things that need to come together for you to actually build a successful product. So definitely in the future, if we do have this opportunity again, definitely I like to be there to actually like share my like 2 cents and stuff. So
Thank you so much, Chidera, for your time. Thank you, Chidozie. I really appreciate. It was really, really a good one. I had an amazing time, and thank you too for sharing your insights. To our community members, we actually we actually against time. It was supposed to be 30 minutes conversation, but it was so interesting that we had to skip to like 50 minutes, which was good. So this video is on YouTube. In case you want to, go back, probably use it for your post and everything. You can get it from YouTube at the ETF community channel. I'm going to share it in the community group so you can just see it. For any of our viewers that you have questions, you can put them in the comment section. There will be somebody, either myself or any member of my team, that would answer your question. Or I can just bring it to the community. We have amazing people there, as you can see, that would answer your questions. Until next time, which is Monday, same time, we are going to be meeting again. We're going to be talking about a different topic, but every other details will be shared in the community. The links to the community is on the platform. You can join if you're interested. And yeah, we share newsletters every day or after every section, just to give us a recap of everything that we talked about. So you can share with friends in case they miss the section, or you can share them the recording so that they catch up on all the conversations that we have. For now, I remember my humble self, Gloria, and I see you on Monday. Bye, guys. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
So the first line, yes,